How's it going, my Block buddies? This is Block Content, and we are actually talking about the Nintendo NX today. There has been some sort of leak, some sort of information dump, and I really wanted to talk to you guys about this because it kind of seems too good to be true. There are a lot of things that leak these days, and I just want to talk with you very briefly about what exactly it is going on with this console at this moment. Everything that is said in this video, of course, it's not fact, it is a rumor, nothing is set in stone at this moment. Really, no one knows what the Nintendo NX is, or maybe what it will be called. Nintendo's new home console or handheld hybrid, no one really knows anything about it, and I just think that it's so surprising that people have just started to massively unveil the console and make all these grand gestures like, I know what it is, I know what it can do, my dad works for Nintendo, stuff like that. And today we are actually looking at a rumor that I have found online, and it is very concrete. It has a lot of very detailed descriptions of what the console is and what's happening inside of Nintendo. So if this rumor is true or based on some sort of factual evidence, then it means this is someone inside Nintendo or with ties directly to Nintendo, and it seems like directly to Nintendo in Japan, and a lot of these things are kind of translated weirdly, so I'm gonna try my best to say it in the best way possible so you guys have the exact feeling of what this guy is trying to say and what's happening with the Nintendo NX. Everything about the launch, everything about TV information, also some things about games, and some of the things behind the scenes also. So if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, just click away now, but there is a big chance that this rumor is nothing but just that, a rumor, but I want you guys to listen to this, okay? So we are going to talk about the Nintendo NX leaks right now. This leak is very lengthy, and there's just a ton to get through, so let's just check out the very first line of this leak. It says, Iwata gained the idea of combining the mobile, handheld, and the console markets in order to reduce the development for games on multiple devices, so that the team could focus and to prevent making duplicate games, as seen with Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS and Mario Kart 8 for Wii U, or maybe more obviously Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Okay, so this to me already sounds like it makes a lot of sense. And also that it came from Iwata is no big surprise. That guy revolutionized gaming in many, many ways, and he also put in some great work to one of the greatest titles of all time. And I think that combining a mobile handheld console makes sense, and exactly what they're saying here, making duplicate games. Something like Smash Bros. For the 3DS and Smash Bros. For Wii U, that kind of stuff just doesn't seem realistic anymore, right? If you make one game, you can just port it to, your handheld system. You don't have to cut stages. You don't have to do unique concept for all those things, and content also for those different types. And what they're saying here makes sense. If you buy a game for the one system, you can take it on the go. That makes sense to me. I don't really get what's a duplicate about Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8. It feels like they were released very close together. That is true. But I think the more obvious one is Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, because they are essentially the same game in two different forms, right? A handheld version with different stages and a lot less, gameplay content, and of course a big console version. And yeah, they also say that this would give Nintendo more time to make new original content. That I think is true, because you spend less time and effort doing all these weird things that they're doing right now with Super Mario Maker for 3DS. I mean, that really doesn't make any sense to me at all. And they say, as well as open a bigger market for third-party publishers to port their games to. Yeah, if Nintendo is no longer doing all these crazy own ports of their games to different systems, it will make it a lot more open for third-party publishers to say, hey, we're Ubisoft, we made this awesome game, a Rayman or an Assassin's Creed or like a Watch Dogs kind of game, and, Nintendo, you need this game, and Nintendo can finally just say yes. We have the means to do it. You can even take it on the go. And imagine that, third-party publishers coming to Nintendo and Nintendo saying, yes, let's take this in, and also you can now have this on a handheld. And that is something that the other guys just don't have. Nintendo will just be one step ahead, and that is a position that they've been waiting on for a very long time. So the message continues, saying, the NX is a Wii U tablet-like device. Purchase of the device comes with a PC-like tower. that would be the console version of the device. The idea comes from seeing Wii U owners bringing the Wii U with them in their backpacks and then plugging the console into outlets so they could play Wii U games on their tablet. This kind of makes sense to me, but it feels weird to say a PC-like tower. It feels like Nintendo would never go for something big or something clunky, and I think that working with something like a dock that we've heard with, a lot before, I think that makes a lot more sense. So we'll have to see how that pans out a little bit. But yeah, a lot of gamers like myself have been bringing the Wii U with them and to just plug it in and not really use a TV, but use the tablet to actually game somewhere. And that has been very helpful. I remember the times I actually had a Nintendo GameCube, which also had a LED screen add-on. And I used to take that with me anywhere, just, play it anywhere where people would be already using the TV. And of course the Wii U kind of fixed that problem, but now with this new console you could take that with you anywhere, so that would still majorly improve that point. Also, and they say the idea is that each NX will be a self-functioning tablet that will play NX games on the go at a lower graphical setting, with the possibility of some gaming restrictions depending on the publishers. These are things that we don't want to hear, okay? So the self-functioning tablet will play NX games at a lower graphical setting. So it means that something like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will not look as good on the system as it does, on your console, which is, it does make sense if you think about it, but I would say a, different resolution would make a lot more sense and not a graphical setting, which means, a lighting change, for example, or maybe a change in, the overall visual style of the game. And that would be a major bummer, because I think that will be a point of many reviews of games saying, well, it's very good, looks beautiful, but don't take it on the go because it will not look that beautiful at all and it has many problems. If there is any sort of divide between playing it on a console and playing it outside, actually other than, the difference of where you are, I think that will be a big problem for the console. I think we should be worried about that. And of course, restrictions depending on the publishers. Third parties will have a lot of more struggle with the console because they've spent less time with it than the Nintendo AAA titles. So this is a little bit of a concern. It also says that Nintendo's goal is to have every game operational on the lower powered setting. The tablet will have removable Wiimote attachments that function as the button and analog sticks, and they can be flipped upside down or switched to the other side of the tablet as well. We've heard some rumors about something like this, different kind of add-ons for that system that you can click on, and you'd need like a different one for a Mario Kart game that's more like a wheel, and you'd need a different one for a Zelda game that has more combat options. And this does make sense. It does feel like a very Nintendo-y move to make, and a lot of patents that have leaked that Nintendo has asked for, they actually kind of confirm this a little bit. But if they do this, it will be another, moment where every single person who owns this console will have many clunky plastic pieces in their house. And just imagine buying something for a Pokemon game, and there will be only one Pokemon game on that system, very likely. You just have that thing in your house for that one game. You already have that little bit of space in your house for the actual game, for the actual thing, the physical game. You're gonna need more space. I don't really think this is such a great idea. It kind of feels like Guitar Hero in the sense that you just buy all this plastic stuff, and then a new generation comes out and you have to buy different other plastic stuff, and you don't really want to sell your plastic stuff because no one will really buy your plastic stuff because you've played on your plastic stuff way too much, and I'm saying plastic stuff way too much. Anyway, yeah, they're saying the Wiimote attachments that function as the button and analog stick. So I think it will still kind of in visual style then look similar to the Wii U or the Wii, because yeah, that's what they're saying. So the next point that they make is that a different Wiimote attachment, it's being planned out for different games, and it's planned to sell the special game attachment alongside their corresponding games. So as far as price goes, this makes sense, right? If you charge a normal game price and get that attachment with it, people would be more likely to get it. If you were to buy a Mario title and you'd have like a classic NES setup for that controller to click in, you don't really want to pay more money for that because you already bought the console, you already have the controller. Why should you spend more money on having more? So not being, forced to spend more money on different controller add-ons, that is a good thing. The other point says that Nintendo will be releasing their very own mobile app store. Ultimately, the eShop will be combining with the 3DS and Wii U shop into one huge app store. Mobile developers will be free to publish content onto the NX eShop, but Nintendo will be monitoring all their content for approval. Think early Apple App Store. This also kind of makes sense. I think it's time for the eShop to evolve, especially now that Nintendo is doing more with mobile and working with mobile developers as well. And, it needs to be more open to third party as well. And, what the NX will end up being needs to fuse perfectly with that too. So sort of an app store does make sense for that device, especially taking it on the go. You kind of want your apps there. You really want your things, like your main apps on the go. And I think the idea of revamping sort of the eShop, I do like the eShop. It feels very cozy, but it doesn't feel very functional. It feels like an experience, and it always feels very warm when I enter the eShop, and it feels like, I kind of want to walk around and do some things and listen to the music, but it never really feels like something that I need. And when I hear the words App Store, I hear a consumer need being met, and that is something that Nintendo also really needs with the NX. Okay, so the next point is that Nintendo is making the NX in order to appeal to kids who are now turning to gaming on their parents' phones, as well as trying to sell a tablet to the general market. Well, this is a little worrying, Just reading Nintendo is making the NX in order to appeal to kids. That is just scary stuff, because we all kind of want this console to be our console, right? The Wii and the Wii U kind of have been this console for the casual market, and we feel like it's about time that the hardcore gamer gets in on some of that action. And it feels like Nintendo is saying with this, hey, we just want to appeal to kids who are now playing Angry Birds on their phones. That is not really what we want from this, but it's trying to sell a tablet to the general market. That makes complete sense to me. So it's a bit of give and take with this one. Okay, so we move on to the NX at launch will be one tablet and tower, with discussions of delaying NX in order to release a standalone tablet alongside the device's release. This does make sense to me. Again, the tower feels very weird and a little forced even. Okay, moving on. Nintendo thinks that even though TVs are now bigger, local multiplayer is dying due to console limitations and how kids now interact with each other. So likely if you're talking about the internet, of course. The idea is to have portable console that interacts with each other like an online gaming, with each device handling its own power. This is something that Nintendo needs. I do not agree that local multiplayer is dying. I think it's not even getting replaced. It's just its very own thing. Local multiplayer is, for a lot of people, still a very big selling point. The Mario parties, the Smash Brothers parties, all that kind of stuff. Nintendo really needs to keep that. When we noticed they were taking that away from games like Halo, stuff like that, people got angry because this is what they want in a game. They want this couch multiplayer where you can just be in your living room and play these games and have fun with each other. And, focusing too much on how kids interact with each other these days, I don't think that's necessarily a good push. This console will have a lifespan of like 4 to 5 or 6 years, and just focusing on the kids now and what their need now is with mobile gaming, I don't think is that smart. It needs to live in this moment, but it also needs to say, hey, we are actually making this for the people that made us who we are. And I think that we need something other than, hey, we want that Angry Birds kid audience. Okay, so they also say that 3D is officially removed from the device, but there are plans to release a 3D-enabled tablet, but Nintendo is unsure if there is a market for it. So apparently 3D was planned for this device even, for the Nintendo NX. Kind of makes sense because the 3DS selling point was the 3D and it did really well, but yeah, it doesn't really make sense to do it on this system. It will not really add that much to me, and it kind of would make it weird because the 3DS is called the 3DS for a reason. 3D was its big thing. If you just add it on now, it kind of depowers that whole fact. And I think 3D is something that could evolve so much more and they could need it later on. Having it on the NX is just a no-go in my head. So we get the confirmation right here because the NX is apparently cartridge based and it can run DS and 3DS games. Wii and Wii U games will not be able to run on the NX, but Nintendo is planning on porting many Wii U titles over to the NX to compensate. So DS games? I mean, why would we need to play DS games? I mean, there are a lot of great DS games, obviously, and one of my favorites is actually Super Mario 64 DS, and I loved that game. When the DS came out, I immediately had that game and I was hooked, and I thought it brought back memories and did a lot of cool new things with it. Also, dropped the ball on some other stuff, but ultimately, a DS game just looks horrible nowadays. 3DS is very passable, but not if you play it on a bigger screen, and I think Nintendo is making the wrong decision here. Playing 3DS games, I think the whole idea of this system is that it will replace the 3DS and Wii U, because it will actually make new content that will both serve as a handheld version of the game and a console version. So having it play 3DS games, it just doesn't make sense in my head. Okay, their next point is that Wii U and some 3DS games will be ported over to NX. For example, Pokken Tournament, Hyrule Warriors, Mario Kart, so probably Mario Kart 8, Animal Crossing New Leaf, so weirdly a 3DS game, and Super Smash Bros. Will be ported over to the NX with added content. So this really makes a lot of sense. I mean, ported over to NX probably means some more content, will look better, look maybe even 4K, right? And you will be able to take it on the go. For Hyrule Warriors especially, this makes sense because there were two versions of this game, and one was a massively underpowered version on the 3DS. And having the actual Hyrule Warriors console game to take on the go with, all of the added content throughout the years. There's so much content in the game. I didn't especially like this game, but I think that as far as content goes and hours you can put into it, it's a very solid title, and having it to play on the go, the console version, would be great. And hearing things like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing New Leaf, also, that has gotten an update over time. Mario Kart 8 has also gotten a lot more special characters added to it, like Link, some of the Animal Crossing characters too, and hearing about Smash Brothers, that kind of ties to my next point, because the next point is actually that Nintendo said that the Smash NX will be ported late, but plans are to add a few new characters, namely Ice Climbers. However, plans to add Inklings and Mario characters have been discussed too. So this kind of moves into the territory of Smash kind of discussion and Smash rumors, and I love that so much. Smash NX is what it's called now. So I wouldn't be surprised that, whatever the console is named, it will just be called Super Smash Bros. For NX or for Nintendo Go or Nintendo, whatever. Nintendo Focus, probably. Smash NX will be ported late. So they are working on it right now. If it is to release for this console a port, they are working on it right now. I know that Sakurai is this guy that if he doesn't let anyone know that he is working or alive, then you'd be damn sure that he's working very hard on things that he just doesn't want to show yet. Sakurai never rests. I love that guy. And to add a few new characters, so not many, but a few, and I think that's kind of weird because seeing the rate that they distributed these DLC characters kind of feels like they could add just a bunch more. And with a console with a lot more power, I think that they need a little stronger showing than just a few more characters, namely Ice Climbers. And Ice Climbers has been very missed. I love Ice Climbers. They had some great combos, and it's really cool to play with two characters seemingly at the same time. And in Smash Bros. For Wii U, I kind of wish that character was there. And having the 3DS version meant we couldn't have Ice Climbers anymore. And I always thought that was a weird decision, right? Because you can't let that take the console version down by any means. So having it on Smash NX will make sense because then it will be able to, work on a handheld version. But yeah, Ice Climbers, would that be that big of a sell? Namely Ice Climbers? I don't really think it has that big of a fan base. It just has a Smash fan base, and even at that, it's very, very small, and mostly people who played Melee and got very good competitively with Ice Climbers. I don't think there is a lot of mainstream appeal for this, franchise. I don't even consider it a franchise. I just consider it a fun throwback in Smash Brothers. However, plans to add Inklings and Mario characters have been discussed. Inklings would be very welcome in Smash Brothers, and it feels like they should have been characters in Smash Brothers for Wii U. I feel like there should have been a level in there too. Ultimately, we just got trophies of them and some costumes for Mii characters, but having Inklings in the game, that would be very special, and I think they fit very well with the world. There are tons of things that they could do with the cool weapons and with the visual style and, you know, the way the characters look and interact with the world, and having paint all over the battleground just would be a very cool moment in a trailer, like Inkling, you know, makes its mark on the battlefield or something like that, you know, inks his position or whatever. And, you know, more Mario characters, it feels like the right decision, right? They didn't add too many new Mario characters, you know, a lot if you do count Bowser Jr. and Bowser Jr.'s 10 million clones. But yeah, having more Mario characters, I'm just thinking of enemies now. I don't think Daisy will ever show up as a playable character. If she does, she will be massively different from Peach and kind of sports-based, I think, just to have her differentiate in that way. But if we have Daisy, we need Waluigi, and we all know that Sakurai really doesn't like Waluigi all that much, so I'm betting against this fact. But Mario characters, I think maybe Koopa Troopa would fit very well. Maybe some other cool characters like Dry Bones. He's been very popular in like Mario Kart games and stuff like that. So if I think maybe, you know, Magic Koopa like Kamek, maybe that character would fit really well. Having a magician in Smash that can like turn objects into different things or enemies, or kind of use different tricks and teleportation, and his broomstick, and maybe, you know, making himself bigger, or his final smash being to summon Bowser, you know, gigantically in the background like the giant monster. I think there is promise for that character, and he's been playable in some games. I think he was rumored to play in Mario Kart 64 actually, and he also played in a Mario Party game, though I don't remember which one. I think it was on the Wii, so it has to have been Mario Party 9, I suppose, or Mario Party 8. Anyway, yeah, we move on from this point. Smash Brothers NX, I really hope it happens. Smash Brothers has been big. I don't think they will make a Smash Brothers from the ground up. I just don't think they will do it for this console. They know that they have gold with Smash Brothers for Wii U, and I just think that there will not be a new visual style. There will not be a new game, like a new thing, but they will build on this, and that's okay. I think every fan of Smash Brothers is kind of okay with that fact. Okay, next point is that Nintendo is hoping that with the additional customization via attachments will keep retailers interested. I don't think so. I think it will kind of work like Amiibo, and Amiibos, they are selling very well at this moment, but it feels like the public is kind of losing interest because there's not a lot to do with it after, you know, you've added your character to Smash Brothers or whatever, or done your Mario Maker thing with it. Their next point, yeah, kind of fits into that a little bit more. They say Amiibos continue to sell well, but Nintendo is still at a cross on how they want to distribute exclusive Amiibo content. This is exactly what I mean, you know? How do you make your Amiibo, you know, so special? Because, you know, a friend of mine, Tom, you know, he also does very cool videos for the Blocked Content channel. He owns, I think, every Amiibo that there is at this moment. And he told me, actually today, he told me, hey man, I think I'm just gonna collect, you know, the last few characters of Smash Brothers, you know, Cloud, Corrin, and Bayonetta, and I think that's it for me. I think I'm gonna sell all the Amiibo that I have because I don't think there'll be anything more that I have to do with it. And I agree. Nintendo says they don't want to lock content to Amiibo, but they also want to be able to do the fun ideas that they have for Amiibo. An Amiibo game is being made thanks to Reggie probably. However, this doesn't solve any initial problems Nintendo sees with Amiibo. One of the biggest issues is the memory storage. Nintendo wants to continue playing with the Smash Brothers idea of having a portable character with its own stats, but notes that the storage limitations prevent them from doing anything really fun with them. Plans are being made for a storage system where people can store their Amiibo data on their NX consoles. For example, you have to erase a Mario Amiibo Smash data in order to have it function for Mario Party, uploading the Mario's data in order to interchange the data with each other. This makes sense for me, and I'm all for this idea. You know, I think having limited space on that Amiibo, just that was a given. You know, they can't just really make that a massive storage facility, that whole Amiibo thing. So having it be like on the cloud, your information, and that you can like change what kind of information you have based on what game, does make sense. And an Amiibo game is being made. I really want an Amiibo game, like a game that is like a Wii Play or a Wii Sports or whatever, Wii Party or a Nintendo Land, but for Amiibo. And and not just for your Smash Brothers set, but for every single amiibo, and that it is maybe a party game, and you can make your amiibo come to life and customize and do cool things with it, and that would be the selling point, kind of like their version of Skylanders. They need that. They have the very cool figures, but they need the world, and I don't think that world is Smash Brothers per se. I think that world can be totally its own thing, and it can mix and match anything. So imagine, playing in a top-down world with something like Shovel Knight, and have Chibi Robo in there as well, Wolf Link, but also some Smash Brothers characters, and maybe have it be an RPG or something like minigames, like a Mario Party-like game without the board game. Just have it be fun minigames that you can really make like a Street Pass kind of game, but really fast bite-sized experience with every amiibo on the planet. And you don't really have to animate the amiibo. Maybe you can just, simply have like a Pokemon Rumble kind of style. I think people would love that, an amiibo game. So Amiibo Party or whatever, please make this game, Nintendo. It's a very good idea. Project Robot will now become a custom robo game. This seems like a given, right? I mean, they need to do something with Project Robot and, kind of binding it to an already existing franchise that really desperately needs a new game. Smart move, Nintendo. So Nintendo is trying to make custom robo amiibos that parts are interchangeable, and when a part is changed, the amiibo or robo is changed in-game as well. Nintendo wants the amiibo to function as an actual action figure. The idea came from when they were creating the Guardian amiibo for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Wow, this idea feels very Nintendo to me. I think they wanted to do something similar with the Walker in the Star Fox Zero game, where you could like change it and then it would change in game or something. Project Robo to be a custom Robo game does make sense. Needs a lot more depth. Needs a lot more, a lot more gameplay changes. I think it can't just be Project Robot for the whole game. That will get boring very fast and stale. But there was already a customizable part to Project Robot, and having custom Robo be kind of like an amiibo, like they are amiibo, right? They're like tiny robots. It kind of feels exactly right for that franchise. And kind of like Metabots, right? Where you can like change the parts and it will change the character in game. Having that on an actual figure, it does feel very cool. You could have your very own cool robot that you just customize and you're very proud of. And having that on your table, that very cool little figure, and then seeing that in the game, man, that could, warm kids' hearts. And I think that's what Nintendo does well. So I'm all for this idea. And I actually had that sort of idea when I saw the unveiling of the Guardian Breath of the Wild amiibo as well. I was like, wait, can Nintendo do interchangeable parts? Like if you place a different weapon in someone's hand, it appears in the game? And apparently, probably they are kind of, they're experimenting with that fact, and I'm so happy that they do. Iwata's death shook up the company, but it's kind of a positive. The older developers are already long discussed that the younger employees haven't had enough spotlight or chance to work on their own games or share their new ideas, and that the future success of the company is with them. So, with game development now moving to one device, they plan on creating more chances to allow their young developers to create new ideas and create their own IP. So, I don't really know what to think of this fact. It does make sense, but Iwata's death, using this as a positive, that really feels weird to me. I do know that a lot of young developers worked on Splatoon. Splatoon ended up being a very cool game and worked very well. So in that sense, I think that the young developer team can certainly handle new IP, but I do think that Nintendo needs like the old staff still working on the games. Koji Kondo, please never be replaced ever. Please just don't be able to die. I think this point makes a lot of sense, and I think, of course, the company needs to evolve, and there needs to be, young faces to work on new games. So yeah, I'm torn on this because I'm just getting slightly sad because of that. Iwata's quality of life products are phasing out, but not completely. Ideas from development will be incorporated into the NX in some shape or form. A share button / feature will be functioned into the NX. Nintendo wants people to share clips and images online through social media. They see Miitomo and Wind Waker HD as a huge success, and that pushing social media in this matter helps advertise their product and creates a good public image of being exciting and fun. I agree with this wholeheartedly. I think that a share button would be amazing, and even for YouTubers like me, I could easily, more easily share Nintendo content and clips and, images, and that would just make things a lot easier and more shareable. And I think Nintendo is about sharing, is about being in the same room together, or maybe over the internet sharing that experience. So very good. I hope that a share button will make its way to the Nintendo NX handheld console hybrid. Some NX ports are ending up becoming new entries in the franchise. Kid Icarus Uprising was being ported to the Wii U, and then development shifted to the NX. But with the NX having interchangeable controls, Nintendo thought of making a new Kid Icarus game. With this idea in mind, it would be a great idea on trying new control designs. Nintendo wants to avoid the failure of Uprising's control choice for being uncomfortable. Wow, I loved Kid Icarus Uprising. I haven't played nearly enough of it. It was awesome. It had great multiplayer. It had that Sakurai polish. It had a great story, awesome sense of humor, and a great shift in gameplay that I really loved. But of course, the controls were very, very clunky, and they brought it down so much. And having it be HD on the NX, man, that would be amazing. I don't care for new control designs. I really don't. I just think that it could really work well on a Nintendo NX, dual sticks. That would be awesome. So please have a Kid Icarus Uprising sequel, or a remake. I don't think it would be that bad, like a port in HD 4K. I don't know. The intended announcement for the NX is constantly being delayed because Nintendo is still having some ideas finalized. They are being extra careful, but also worried that if they announce too soon, other companies would react and have too much time to prepare for the NX release, since Nintendo is targeting to compete with the mobile and console makers. They want to dominate the market with this idea for an entire year to help sell the product. Nintendo, I think you have to let it go. I think you have to announce this thing right now because we all really want it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a lot to take in, and it's of course all rumors, but it could end up, having a lot of factual things right. And a lot of things do make sense to me. So I'm very happy that I got to, read about this and kind of fantasize about the things that could end up happening. And I think a lot of the things with ports and, amiibo functionality and amiibo games, and even the share button and ports, and hopefully a Kid Icarus game, all those things, I hope that they are true. I would be very happy if they were. And if you want to stay up to date to all that Blocked Content does, simply hit that subscribe button and become part of our awesome family. You'll be able to see a lot more animation, information on video games, Nintendo games, NX news, Super Smash Bros., Zelda, Paper Mario, everything that you love. And remember that there is a goodie challenge. You can actually win a Super Mario Maker goodie. These are magnets for on your fridge to create your very own Super Mario Maker level. So please, put a comment down below why you should win this awesome set, and we'll just send it to you. We'll just do that for you. So hopefully we'll see you guys next time. This was Blocked Content with some more NX leak news. Hopefully a lot of these things ring true. I'm getting so excited for this console, and I just can't wait anymore. I just want Nintendo to make an official announcement on Facebook or something like, hey, look, we know that you guys are waiting. There is a direct coming. It's coming this and this and this date. Look forward to it. Then the hype train goes into full overdrive, crazy mode, almost off the rails, but still going strong. And man, I cannot wait for that unveil. I cannot wait to see games, to actually know what it is, and to actually, kind of know what I'm talking about, instead of having all these rumors swirl around the world. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe, hit that cool like button, become part of this Blocked Content family, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.